Thank you very much.
Good morning and welcome. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, having me on stage to talk about Humanizing Industry 4.0. My background, I've written a few books about performance behavior. I'm a behavior expert. And the last 5 years I've worked on gaining more knowledge about digital technologies. And today I'm going to talk about our platform SOLVACE. It's a operational excellence management platform. I will not try to make it a commercial pitch, but just give you some insights. I brought some books, and I would happily to invite you all for the discussions in our booth, and of course during the roundtable today. If there are any questions, happy to answer them until Audi shows up. We have all the time, I think, today. That was a joke, organization. Good. Is this working? Yes. So we all know, oh, this is a bit a pity that it's building up. We all know the Industrial Revolution. I'm not going to go through this very known slide, but when you look to Industry 4.0, where we are today, then basically, in my view, there is missing a very important component, and that's the human component. Every discussion I have in every event, it's about digital assets, it's about IoT, it's about software, it's about hardware, and nowhere I hear humans. And when I try often to start a discussion about people, they say, yeah, but people, they will, at the end, they will disappear. We will have no more people in our manufacturing environment. We will have less people in our manufacturing environment. And I always counter that argument with, yeah, but if you have less people, on the one hand you could say, yeah, but then people are less important. But on the other hand, the people that are left in your processes, they have a more crucial role in the total process, right? So I think that people will still have, in the next 5 to 10 years, a very important role within our manufacturing. And even, again, the people which are left, they have a much more critical role. So I think it's important that if we strategize AR, VR, if we strategize our digital within our manufacturing environment, that we strategize it including people and not excluding people. So if we talk about the connected factory, the connected worker, the connected organization, then we should design it people-centric. We should design it from a client-centric perspective, not only from a technology-centric perspective. So what are the current bottlenecks in connecting people and processes? Well, in the management and operational excellence processes, there are basically two big problems. The first one is connection, because yeah, we think that today globalization has stopped because of a war, because of supply chain problems, all the container ships laying there in front of Shanghai. Yes, but if you look to the numbers of trade, then globalization is still going on, like it's still growing. I mean, it's not stopping, and it will certainly not stop after some indeed big issues are solved. Globalization is something that we will not be able to stop, and maybe indeed in some countries we will insource a bit more. That's what we see in critical industries. Chip industry in Europe, much more insourced. I see the same movement, of course, also in the US, where I lived the past 5 years. But generally speaking, globalization will just go full speed ahead. And then with global organizations, connection is a very important thing. Connection in sharing knowledge, connection in managing processes, and connection in collaboration. Again, less people, so the people who are left are much more critical to that end process. I will come back to that later. And the second part is scale. So the coverage of being excellent, the coverage of being excellent in cost and in quality and in delivery time means that you need to have an operational excellence strategy which has digital as a foundation and which has a people-centric design. So those two problems currently pop up where we talk about digitalizing our operational excellence management processes. So if we look back in the time when I started with PowerPoint and Excel and Word, you could buy them separately. I'm sure if I look around these tables, there are many people who still remember that time when we started with Word. Yes, no, I started with WordPerfect actually, like many of you probably. So in that time, you could buy those parts separately, those tools separately. Today, you cannot anymore. Today, we have moved from tool to platform. And in our vision, this will happen the same in the manufacturing, in the industrial environment. We will go more to platforms. There will be 3, 4, 5 platforms left. And in operational excellence and management processes, there will be a few platforms which basically facilitate people during the day being compliant, being better, developing, sharing knowledge. So how do we envision that? Well, basically we envision somebody who logs in a digital way, step by step, being facilitated by digital processes and tools, aids, support, to basically help the person view his performance, help the person share his knowledge, help the person in being better every day, managing his processes from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. And then indeed, based on that maturity, being able to switch on and switch off certain specific elements within that environment. So in this vision, our vision of the connected worker, the person is connected with all his checklist and all his work to do, all his processes, all his management processes, but he's also connected with his machine and process parameters. He's connected with his geolocation. He's connected even with his smartwatch to measure his stress status, to measure his temperature, to measure the environment of the temperature. Hey, you are now in a chilled environment and you are only allowed to be here for maximum 15 minutes, so you are near your limit. There is a warning, get out of there, because it's an unsafe situation. Those collaborative elements between machines and people, leading to a signal which guards safety, which guards quality, which guards on-time delivery. Those elements are part of our vision of the connected worker. Then how does that look like? Well, basically, in our basic vision, without going too deep in this model, you need two things. You need a stable process and you need an improved process. Only a stable process you can improve step by step. So this is actually the root of our platform. The root of our platform is based on a stable process and improving that process. And then we build all kind of operational modules around that you can switch on and switch off to use according to maturity. Currently within Mondelez, where we are deploying 100 sites globally, and we have very different sites with different maturities. Some of the sites that are ready to switch on all the maintenance modules, all the maintenance apps, and others are not ready yet, so they are not using those. In the middle part, you see all the operational modules facilitating the process, the core process of the operator's work, and on the right side you see the management modules, which basically facilitate the management processes. And of course, strategizing this, you need a good narrative. You need a good storyline to define why we are doing this, because in the time when I lived in the US in the past 5 years, as I said, there were some pretty nasty stories about companies. In this case was Amazon, where a guy, he was fired by an algorithm. The algorithm was doing things from itself, and from itself he received a lockout of his system, and he was guided by by the security people out of the building. And then somebody said, oh wait, it's a mistake. About who did it? Yeah, actually nobody. It was an automatic algorithm who had basically was triggered by something, and then the guy was fired. And then of course people say, hey, but we are not robots. We are not designing these kind of systems to get the last drop the last drop of productivity out of our people. That's not a story you want to convey in your company. No, you can engage people with the same technology. Like every technology, you can use or abuse it. So how can you engage people with this kind of technology? How can you involve people with this kind of technology? How can we make sure that actually people get better, not only the processes within our company, but also people within our company get better? Excuse me. So this narrative, this storyline you develop, which is the foundation, the principles of your strategy, is super important to think about. And what do people do in this strategy? What do I expect people to do? Because otherwise, you end up in the wrong category. At the end, our goal is that we want to give back the power to the people, basically, the power to the shop floor. We want to hear this bell ringing, yes. But at the end, it's the guy with the hammer on the shop floor who is doing all the work, who wants to measure what he is doing today, who wants to improve this every day again. So we hear this bell ringing more often and more louder. Thank you so much.